Good evening, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Divine Feminine, welcome into your reading, guys. As I checked the Divine Masculine's energy a couple of, maybe a day or two back, let's see what your energy, Divine Feminine, is talking about for yourself. Okay, this reading again will be for a week or so. Take it in the way it resonates with you. Five of Cups. You guys are feeling disappointed or moving out of some disappointment that has been with you for whatever time period, Divine Feminine. Okay, we'll see. We'll see what the energies are for you. Take the guidance, guys, and work according to this guidance, because many a times what we think, what we feel, what we do is not what we want, right? But we are misguided. So there is something that requires a little bit of guidance. Just as when you're young, your parents, your teachers, they're there in your life for a reason, because they want to give you some kind of guidance, right? So that is exactly the guidance we are talking about when we do a reading like this. So let's call upon our divine angel, ancestor, spirit guide, my source, to help us in this reading for you, Divine Feminine. Okay, and we'll see what the energies are that is talking to us. Ace of Cup and the Empress. This is something that didn't happen before, right? This love hadn't blossomed before. Interesting. Okay. And that's why the Empress is showing up with her back. And then we have the Star card. Beautiful. Okay. So there is some background stuff that's happening behind your back, Divine Feminine. You're probably not even aware of that, okay? Yeah, you're probably not even aware of that. What is happening? A lot of grief, a lot of healing is definitely happening at your end too. Okay, you're washing away some of the old stuff that had been sitting in your mind and in your emotions. We'll see. We'll see, Divine Feminine, what's going on at your end here. You're trying to relieve some tension, some worries, about the situation of the twins that's been worrying you, keeping you locked in your head with a lot of thoughts. See, the devil, yeah. It's been keeping you locked in your head. You were refusing to let that go and feel loved or bring back that emotion of self-love in yourself as well, a Divine Feminine. Okay, we'll see what's going on. But now you're realizing. You will be realizing, or some of you have already, you're waking up to this sense of realization that it's not worth killing yourself over a situation that you feel you have practically no control on, right? The Knight of Cups and the Empress. Again, this is a situation that hasn't happened. This is a situation that hasn't happened. Okay, we'll see. Hold on. Like I said, the love hadn't blossomed, right? And then we have the Tower here. The Tower that should have happened, but it didn't. Okay. We'll see. And now we have the Judgment. Wow. So you're definitely taking a call You're waking up to a lot of things that you probably had not seen before for yourself, Divine Feminine, the Hierophant. Let's see. Yeah. The Eight of Cups. We got the same card yesterday for the reading for the Divine Masculine. And I think I said too that you guys were doing exactly the same thing. You were hoping against hope that things will improve, things will get better, and you kept sitting in that place, which you're realizing was your fault as well. You too were being rigid in your understanding, Divine Feminine. You were not letting things go. Letting things go doesn't mean that you let the whole relationship go. No. There was a very strong control on your end too, on this relationship. And I have been saying this for a long time, that you guys need to let go of that control. Because the moment you let go of that control and you let it and you hand it over to the universe, that's when universe works for you. But if you don't let the universe work for you, how do you think that will happen? Because you are taking control of everything. You are telling yourself, no, I'm going to run the show. I'm going to make this happen. Why isn't he doing this for me? Why isn't he giving me that time? Why isn't he bringing that love? Why? You had that question in yourself, but you were not putting it out to the universe. At a certain point in your time, guys, you need to let universe take control of the situation, because as human beings, if you can understand what I'm saying from a deep spiritual level, we as human beings, we don't have control. We think we have, but we don't have control. Tomorrow, for example, you are doing a job somewhere, okay? As an example, you have been working there for years and years and years together. Then all of a sudden, COVID happens, the way it happened last year, and you lose your job. Your company shuts the doors. Your business is gone, and you're left without a paycheck. Did you have any control on that COVID? Did any one of us even understand where it came from, why it happened, and how it happened? But we have all faced the consequence of that situation. But we had no control. We didn't even have a vaccine. So what happened in the end was we said whatever happens will happen. When the vaccine comes, we all take the vaccine, and then slowly we get back to business. But we had no control over the time period when the vaccine will come, when that situation will improve. One lockdown after another lockdown after another lockdown. There was a never-ending series of lockdown. Schools closing, everything closing. None of us could do anything. None of us could go out. We had no control. So it's only when you realize, guys, that you have no control, whether it's your personal situation, your professional situation, we really have no control on anything in our life. So the best thing is we try, we do our best, right? We do our due diligence. And when we see that, okay, we don't have that control, hand it over to the universe. Let the universe take care of it. Believe in one thing, guys. Believe in one thing, your karma. If this relationship, if this divine masculine is meant to be yours, no one can take him away from you. He will come back to you in one way or the other. But if he isn't meant to be a part of your life, However hard you try, you won't get that. Do you follow what I'm saying? You have no control on that situation. And this is where you are getting a hang of this situation. You're letting that thing wash away. You can see your ships coming into your harbor. So there is some new movement, new plan from an old situation where you are leaving behind the 4 cups. It's washed away. And now you're looking at your future. You're looking at the ship that is sailing into the harbor. So there is something that's moving in your direction, Divine Feminine. Something good, some good news, plan of travel, anything, something, somebody is coming, some situation is moving towards your direction. And see, with the 3 of Wands, you're waiting for that. You're waiting for that moment. The moment is still to come to you. It's like a stage of knowing. It's a law of attraction. Let me tell you, it is also meant to be a law of attraction that you are now trying to attract something better in your life, only for yourself, Divine Feminine. Only for yourself. You're learning to understand this situation, right? Because you see some hope here. You're looking at something which is a little far away at this point, but you're getting prepared to leave what is not yours anymore. You don't want to sit in that energy. You're tired of holding on to those 4 cups, those cups that has already fallen on the ground, completely empty, devoid, and you're now looking towards something better in your life for yourself, whatever that could be for each one of you, right? And because of that, you're gaining your wisdom, your knowledge is becoming better. Some of you guys could be even finding out things about long distance travel, plans, anything that is motivating to you. You're waiting eagerly for that plan to come to fruition. So you're definitely moving towards your better future. You're waiting for that. It's still not here, but you know it's going to be here. It's a law of attraction, right? You're attracting that ship back in your life. You're attracting back something back in your life, and that is what you are waiting for. You're waiting for that ship to reach your harbor, for the time to come. Okay? Now, see, with this Knight of Cups, this is a situation that did not happen. When you haven't had whatever desire you had in your life, Divine Feminine, you could not bring that to fruition. You could not, because this love, this birth was blocked. There was no love that was either given to you, you did not receive it, and because of that, whatever fertility, whatever that you wanted to give birth to in the situation of the twin flame, you could not, because everything was closed. Everything was closed. So whatever desire, Divine Feminine, whatever desire you had to reach this stage of fertility and abundance was not done. Was not done. You could not do it. And you know that. Why you know it? Because of the Tower. The third eye chakra. Right? The third eye chakra that opens up your story in yourself. Then what has happened here is your spiritual understanding here. Is your complete spiritual understanding, that shift, that epiphany, that spiritual understanding of whatever that situation is and why it couldn't blossom, why it couldn't come to fruition. You can see this entire story very clearly, or you will see it. Doesn't matter. You will see it, or you have already, for some, you have already seen it, right? But at this point in time, because you're seeing that situation, is more what I'm getting, you are letting it go. You're trying to understand, you're trying to tell yourself that, okay, it's didn't happen. So what do I do? Because you're seeing through that. Your third eye chakra is opened up, right? Right here. Your third eye chakra has opened up. And that is whatever probable dreams you had in yourself, you kind of letting it go. You're kind of letting it go. You're kind of letting your old visions die out. Whatever visions that you had in yourself with regards to this situation. Why? Because you're waking up. This is the judgment right here. You're waking up to this reality. You're waking up to this reality of whatever happened in here. Because right now you're not, you want to take a call on this situation now. You want to take a call on this reality, because the reality is right in front of your eyes, right? You cannot ignore this reality anymore. So therefore, whatever that you had been hallucinating, fantasizing, thinking that it will happen one day, you now know that it's time to restart something else in your life. It's a judgment call. Whatever the decision that you take, however way the decision you take, right? Whatever the decision is in yourself, you have to give birth to that decision, because it's a wake-up call for you. It's definitely a wake-up call, because somewhere this commitment has not happened, right? This commitment has not happened either because you have been rigid, or the divine masculine had been rigid about a situation that he has, or you had been rigid by yourself to not let the situation leave you, right? You had been holding on to that commitment factor. You had been holding on to that situation. And that was your fault, Divine Feminine. Like I said, you did not take the right judgment call here at one point. You should have taken that call at the right time, but it didn't happen. That's what it is. So you made a mistake here. Because of that situation, you have been holding on to that story, trying to work with that, giving this man a second chance, telling yourself that, okay, it's fine, let me give him a second chance. Let me see if he can turn around. If he can turn around and be the proper person, or bring that commitment forward. Right? So you were probably waiting to give him a second chance, but that was your problem, because he was being rigid. You were being rigid too. Right? Because you probably felt that it's okay to give this person a second chance in your life for him to come back and do things in the right way. But this was your rigidity too, guys, not just his. Right? Because you were not letting this connection go, even though you knew this man is not with you or is not doing the right thing. But you were refusing, because you were trying very hard to give birth to this connection by yourself. Right? And you were wondering what you can do in order to move this situation and turn the person around for this commitment. right? So you were also being rigid. Come on, guys, you were also being rigid because you were waiting to give this person a second chance that probably you felt would work for you, divine feminine, right? But this is where your understanding is becoming clear, and you are becoming clear. You are becoming clear. You're rising out of the ashes very slowly, like the phoenix. Some of you guys know the entire story by now, but you will not tell anybody. Why? Because you fear people will mock you, right? If you go and tell somebody about the whole situation, people will mock and say, like, why did you do it? Right? Why have you been holding on to somebody who refused to give you a commitment in your life? Who could not turn around and say, yes, I'm ready for this commitment, right? I'm ready for this commitment. I'm ready to accept you as my divine feminine. But you could not do that. So, this is where your understanding is not only becoming clear, but you're rising out of the ashes, right? Look at the fire behind you. Yeah. Look at the fire behind you. It's something that you're realizing, that you can do without this particular situation in your life. You don't need that because you by yourself, divine feminine, you are strong. Somewhere you might have lost your strength with this situation here, right? Where you felt that you were completely dependent on this person or on this situation to give you everything. And you had forgotten about your own strength, how strong you actually are or can be, right? So it's like the idea is coming back to you, but you're not going to talk about it. The reason you're not going to talk about it is because you don't want people to make fun of you, right? But you know the whole story. You know the whole story. You know the story that you had been sitting and waiting for this man to come and give you the wish card, right? You have been waiting for a very long time. This is where you will not tell people about the situation because this is something that you cannot tell people, that I have been sitting, even though I knew that the situation is not going anywhere, yet I have been sitting in front of the dented cups, wishing upon the star and the comet to come and grant me my wish. That is something you don't want to tell people. You can't. Because if you tell people now, it's like, people are going to turn around and mock you for being so foolish. That when you knew about this situation, you didn't act on it. Yet you kept sitting on that situation, waiting for this man to wake up and get some spine in order to give birth to this situation as well, right? But that didn't happen, right? That didn't happen because you thought this guy, the divine masculine, would wake up and get some spine to do this situation because you were ready to give him a second chance in here. And you were waiting for this person to get out of his rigidity and come back to you. So it was your fault as well because, with that story, you could not abandon the situation. You did not have the heart to abandon the situation emotionally. So you kept yourself locked up in this situation. And this is what you are discovering now for yourself. Right? You're discovering the truth for yourself here. Your intuition, your understanding is telling you that you got stuck because you refused to abandon the situation. And why did you refuse to abandon this situation? It's because you loved him. You loved him, but that love did not materialize. It did not come into fruition, right? If it had to come into fruition, it would have been here, but it didn't come into fruition. So this is what you're understanding for yourself now, Divine Feminine, that you had been rigid in your own understanding of the whole situation as well. Because like I said, you thought that by being, okay, another part is, you thought that by being strong, right, by being good, by being strong, by being emotional, right, to a large extent, getting emotional messages will turn this man around. But that didn't happen, because this man could not turn around, could not accept this connection. So this was your mistake when you had refused to give up on this story. Right? You refused to get out of this situation and you kept hanging on to this situation. This is what is going to become very, very clear to you, Divine Feminine. Go back to the Divine Masculine's reading. He had the tower, but he had this side of the tower. And you have this side of the tower. Both the tower situation is in exactly the same place. Go back and check the reading if I'm not mistaken. But your tower is with your third eye chakra, where you're getting the truth, you're getting the clarity, the whole epiphany of the whole situation is coming back into action. So both of you guys have the tower, but in a different way. You're getting the tower of the old situation and your mistake in here. Your mistake was that you did not let this go because you were controlling this situation. You wanted this control on this man as well, right? Because you thought you were giving him a second chance. He will come back and he will turn around and do things in the right way. But that didn't happen. That didn't happen, right? So you waited and you waited and you waited for the situation to turn around in this position of the 8-dented cups, right? And this is where you are finding out the truth for yourself, that you shouldn't have done that because you wasted your time, you wasted your energy, you wasted your emotion on this situation without getting any kind of result whatsoever. Right? So this is where your reading is at this point in time, Divine Feminine. Because you also could be walking out of this commitment now. Because you're becoming strong, you probably will not tell anybody at this point that you want to walk out of this commitment, right? Because people might mock you and say, oh, you have been sitting in that place for a long time and now you want to walk out of this commitment, right? So you cannot even tell people because it was even your mistake that you had not used your third eye before to have clearly seen the truth of what the situation has been for you all about. Because this is becoming very apparent to you that this man did not have any love for you, or so you think. He was never serious to have done a promise, to have got into a promise, to have got into a commitment with you, right? Because if somebody is very serious about that situation, right, they will make the effort to make you happy. They will not leave you in a place where you are feeling so bitter and sad about the whole situation, right? So you could be in a position because you're waking up to the fact that you now need to leave this commitment. But unfortunately, you cannot even tell people because, again, like I said, if you tell anybody, they will be you are fearing that they will mock you. Let me tell you. Whether it happens or not, that's a different story. But you are fearing that people will mock you, right? See, because now, as you are discovering the truth, guys, you're discovering there is so much more that you still haven't explored because you have been sitting in that mood, in that depression, in that apathy of emotions, emotional loss, where you fail to discover what the world is all about. Because all your concentration, all your focus, all your emotions were in these 8 dented cups where you were wishing upon the star for the 9th cup, and you forgot to see how much the world still has in store for you. There are a lot more opportunities for you that you still haven't explored. You still haven't even got to see, and you were so focused on that depression because you wanted this commitment, you wanted this love, that you failed Divine Feminine to explore the world and see what that situation is that will bring you back your happiness. And this is where, right in the beginning, I told you, this is when your understanding is that you have a lot of things that you still haven't done, lot of desires that you still haven't fulfilled in your life. There is a lot of things. You don't want these. You want to travel, you want to go, you want to see the world, you want to do things, whatever that ship is all about, right? And the time is coming for you where you are going to get into that ship and sail away. Now take that in the way a metaphor is told to a person, right? I'm not saying that you will get into a ship or an aircraft and sail or fly away. No. What I'm trying to say is that there are a lot of things that is coming towards you that you now need to understand and work your energy towards that situation instead of sitting in a place and brooding over this situation over and over and over and again, right? So it was your mistake as well. It was your mistake as well that, you knew that this commitment, it was an open commitment. Like, it wasn't a commitment where both you guys are together in front of the Pope taking his blessings. The Pope had his back turned. So obviously the blessings had not been there, right? In this commitment so far. But you were trying to work with your wisdom. You were trying to see, how you can revive this commitment, giving this man a second chance, giving this relationship a second chance to see if it can work its magic, right? But now you're coming to the point of discovering that it's not feasible. Because if you keep doing that and do not surrender the situation, you will be only sitting here and lamenting about this whole story every day, right? Lamenting about a story that you know is not here at the moment. And therefore, what you did was that you refused to see the world, to move out of the situation and focus yourself on your own situation. You kept hanging in there, trying to tell yourself that one day this situation will turn around. So it was your mistake that you could not stop, you know, being a part of this commitment or severing this relationship, even when you knew that this man had turned his back towards you, and that the blessing from this commitment is not here at this point, right? So the third eye chakra tells me very clearly that you are looking at the situation completely from a very spiritual perspective now. Yes, there is fault in you, there is fault in him. You know, it's a part of the story that we all go through in regards to our spiritual understanding. Not everybody is perfect, not everybody can be perfect ever. Okay, let's look at the middle of the card, the Hierophant, to, understanding what is the wisdom. You're probably discovering a lot of wisdom in yourself too, Divine Feminine. Please talk to me about the Hierophant. You're becoming more wise, you're becoming more strong, Whatever had been depleted in your strength is coming back to you. You're ready to take a risk in your life in order to move forward towards your situation. 10 of Cups. You wanted the 10 of Cups, 100%. You wanted this commitment, Divine Feminine. There's no doubt about this situation, right? You wanted a happy family life. You wanted, perhaps you all had even what's the story? You had probably thought promises were made to buy a new home, right? But everything was under covers. Everything was under cover. It was all hidden. This emotion was all in hiding. Nothing was out, right? Because with this emotion, there was a lot of fear. There was a lot of fear. There was also a lot of misinterpretation if this can actually happen or if this is an illusion, right? It's a misinterpretation. Some of you guys could be thinking it was just an illusion, right? With this Hierophant. Because this was kind of too good to be true for you, right? This commitment was perhaps what you always wanted in your life. And it was kind of too good to be true for you. So you were sometimes wondering, is this for real? Or is it something that is true? Right? So, because you were trying to clear your own doubts, your own fear about the situation, whether the situation will be for real or it is just something that I am fathoming in myself. And you gave it a good thought with the Hermit. You definitely gave it a good thought because you have your own restrictions, or you had your own restrictions, because you were also involved in that toxic love with this man as well. Divine Feminine, right? So, this toxic love is something that was there for him and as well as for you. When I call upon the toxic love, I'm talking about lust as well. Lust as well. Lot of physical lust between the two of you. But at the same time, this is kind of funny, guys, with your situation. Right? That you wanted a proper commitment. But you also had that toxic love. You could not let go of that. You could not let go of that toxic love either, Divine Feminine. So, but you were trying to walk out of that toxic love and get into a proper commitment here. but you were fearing if this would ever happen. You were not sure because you knew that there was the toxic love in the situation as well, right? Where you could not completely let go of that, but you kind of isolated also. You kind of isolated yourself from the situation that was already there. You kind of moved away from this situation, true, as well. It is also true that you kind of moved away from that situation and you were more focused on bringing the real love and the real commitment back into this relationship. But you were not sure if this would happen at whatever cost. You were not sure. Because see again, you could have had an option between the real and the false. You knew that you had both, right? So it was your choice. It was your decision as well. This card can go many ways, right? It was your decision as well whether you wanted to stick on to that toxic love or whether you wanted to move away from that toxicity and be in that pure love, be in that spiritual contract, right? But you were not, again, this thing was never made open between the two of you. That's what I'm also getting. It was never made open between the two of you of what kind of a contract you actually had with each other. Really, what kind of a contract you actually had with each other. Was it a contract that was based upon this lust or this toxicity, or whether this was a contract based upon the truth and spirituality, right? So with the third eye chakra, you kind of can see through everything now, right? You kind of can feel that energy. Then really, what kind of love was it? Was it for real? Or was it just all illusion that I had? Because both these love, both these commitment, or both these kind of commitment, you thought would, you had. But thing is that you were not sure if either one of them could bring you your 10 of cups or your happiness. So it's a very dicey situation that you're going through, Divine Feminine, because you're trying to figure out, really, you're trying to figure out here if this love was ever true or was it only because of sex or sexual pleasure or toxicity between the two of you. Right? So you're not very sure. You're trying your answer here. You're trying to find an answer here for yourself. Right? Whether this man actually meant to be your divine masculine, or was it somebody whom you fell in love with and thought he was the divine masculine. For some, it also goes like that, right? So you have questions. You definitely have questions about the whole situation here, right? That you are now thinking that whatever you have thought before would happen was only a part of your illusion, right? Was only a part of your illusion. Because you see, with the moon is called Rohini. Rohini is the wife of Rahu. Rahu is the planet, right? And Rohini is the wife of Rahu, and the moon stands for Rohini, which is also a form of your karma with somebody that you are meant to be with, right? But it also can create that subconscious illusion and fear of whether this this relationship was ever meant to happen, or was it only your dreams or your fantasy about the situation? Because now you're trying to find out what this man was all about. Was he for real, or was he for real? Which one was the real him here? And which one was the real relationship here? Right? You have questions. You have questions that you're asking yourself in here, Divine Feminine, with regards to this situation, because as you are delving back into your past, right? As you are moving back into your past, because with the third eye chakra, you can see a lot of things from the past that has happened, which at that point in time you probably have not paid attention to, right? Because you were in that energy where it just came and went, and it just went. You did not look into it from your third eye. But when the third eye opens up, right, that is where you see the whole situation from not only a different perspective, but you also travel back in time, right? When you travel back in time, say 2 years earlier, 3 years earlier, for some it could be 10 years earlier, whatever that, or 7, 8. When you travel back in time, you see the whole thing. And that's where the question comes up in here, in your case. Because now you believe, or you're trying to tell yourself that this was only a part of your illusion. This was never meant to happen. The 10 of Cups was only your creative idea. It was in your head, in your subconscious. You wanted that. But you were not clear if you really had a fantasy about it, or was it for real? So everything in your situation, Divine Feminine, comes with a question mark right now, because you're not very clear about the whole situation. Because when you're traveling, like I said, when you're traveling back in time, you are moving through that cycle where you see a lot of things more clearly than what you had seen before. That's the way I would like to say it, right? Because when you are now looking at the whole situation back in time, there are little things that you might have overlooked, a lot of things you might have not seen, might have not understood. But today you're coming to the point of getting the whole clarity back in yourself, where even little things that you might have ignored before is revisiting you, right? So this is where you are in that energy, where you're building up that courage to go forward. You're telling yourself, I don't want to be a part of this journey anymore, and I need to walk out of this situation, right? I need to walk out of this situation. I need to make plans for my future. I need to get going towards a new destination in my life. And that's what you are working on. You are working on, because there is some kind of some kind of a strategy with people, with groups that you are manifesting, right? It could be your friends, colleagues, right? You're very articulate, very sharp. You can, make things happen. You're very intellectually rational with people, right? You can talk logically with them, argue rationally with people, with team. You have that quality in you, Divine Feminine, because you know why? Because you are moving out of this situation and looking at your own reorganization. How you reorganize yourself from this learning experience in your life, right? So this is where, because you have been attached to this situation, right? You had been attached to the situation. That's what I said here. You had been attached to that situation. So for you to reorganize yourself, to reorganize your priorities, you need to detach yourself from this situation in order to see what you can now do to improve your skills, to do things that you want to do in your life. Some of you guys could be even thinking about, joining a new workforce, building up a team, going into some kind of community work, anything, some kind of community work that where you take control of that, become the leader of that group because you're very good with your logical thinking, rational, with your strategy, you can help build a team, right? You can help build a team, you can talk, you can think, you can rationalize on situations. So, yeah, so this is where you want to work yourself in or with, and that is what you're thinking of moving towards. Your plan is towards some kind of an expansion for yourself, something that makes you happy, something that brings in your success in your life, right? Not everything has to be successful. If love has been successful, yes. If love isn't successful, you by yourself, you're an identity, you can be successful. There is no stopping you, Divine Feminine, right? So you have to think for yourself. You have to learn to understand how much power you have in yourself that you probably haven't even explored. You haven't. Because you were all very much stuck here, right? Stuck here because you were expecting this to happen. You were expecting back to get your love back. You were expecting this commitment back. So you kept yourself hanging in between this pain and this commitment where you did not move out of that situation to work towards yourself. Right? So this is the time, Divine Feminine, the universe is saying, get up guys, work for yourself, do things for yourself, learn to love yourself. Love will come to you, like I told you right in the beginning. If karma means that this man cannot go anywhere but has to return to you, he will return to you under any situation. But if it is so that karma tells you that he cannot return to you, he is not yours, however hard you try, whatever you do, this situation will not work for you. So you have to work for yourself, right? You have to work for your betterment, Divine Feminine. So take this guidance, guys, take this message and love yourself, work for yourself, look after yourself, nurture yourself, plan for your future, think about yourself. Okay, enjoy this reading, guys. Until I see you once again, till then, goodbye, God bless, Khuda Hafiz, and Namaste.